The first time a bank teaches you your place, it does not raise its voice. It does not drag you out of the building. It does not point, laugh, or make a scene. It just shows you a number at 9:17 in the morning, -$34.12. You stare at the screen like your phone has made a mistake. Last night, your balance was $2.88. Then, a subscription you forgot about hit at midnight. By breakfast, the bank has added an overdraft fee larger than the charge itself. Now you are standing in a beige lobby with a plastic ticket in your hand. B-42. The ticket is printed slightly crooked. You keep folding the corner with your thumb because you need something to do while you wait. Around you, the lobby is quiet in that expensive institutional way, all glass, marble, fake plants, and voices kept just below embarrassment. When your number is called, you walk to the counter trying to look calm. You explain that your paycheck comes Friday. You explain that the charge was accidental. You explain that you have been with the bank for 4 years, as if loyalty means anything when the balance is red. The teller looks at the screen, then at you, then back at the screen. There is a pause just long enough for you to feel measured. "I'm sorry," she says. "Your account doesn't qualify for a courtesy reversal at this time." At this time, as if another version of you exists somewhere, a cleaner version, a safer version, a version with enough money to be forgiven. You nod. You say thank you because shame has excellent manners. You put ticket B-42 in your pocket and walk outside into sunlight that feels too bright. A man in a suit passes you while talking into earbuds. The bank door opens for him before he touches it. And that is the first lesson. A bank is not just a place that holds your money. It is a place that tells you how much room you are allowed to take up. At $0, your banking relationship is built around suspicion, not personal hatred. That would almost be easier. No one has to hate you for the system to hurt you. The rules only have to be written for people with a cushion. Your card declines at a pharmacy over $6.73. The cashier says it softly, which somehow makes it worse. You tap again, pretend the machine is glitching, and feel the person behind you shift their weight. You learn that poverty is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is just ordinary life with no margin for timing errors. Rent clears before the paycheck. A gas station hold freezes money you needed for groceries. A late fee creates another late fee. You check the bank app before bed, then again in the morning, not because you are disciplined, but because one surprise can ruin the week. The bank gives you alerts, but not mercy. Low balance alert, payment declined, fee assessed, account past due. Every message sounds neutral. Every message lands like a judgment. You start rehearsing your sentences before you call customer service. You make your voice softer, more responsible, less desperate. You learn to say, "I was wondering if there's any way," when what you mean is, "Please do not let one mistake become 3. At this level, the cost is not only the money, it is the shrinking. You shrink before you enter the branch. You shrink before asking for help. You shrink in front of machines, policies, and people who may be kind, but cannot override the screen in front of them. And then, slowly, the number changes. Not enough to make you free. Enough to make you less punishable. You get a better job, or 2 worse jobs, or a stretch of overtime that leaves your body tired, but your account positive. For the first time in months, the balance does not drop below 0. Then, it stays above $500. Then, $800. The bank stops hitting you every week and starts ignoring you politely. That feels like peace. A letter arrives in the mail with your name spelled correctly. Inside is a credit card offer. Pre-approved. Silver design. $1,000 limit. You read it at the kitchen table like it is a diploma. Pre-approved. The word is ridiculous, but it works on you. For years, you have been bracing for denial. Now, a corporation has sent you papers saying you might be acceptable in advance. At the branch, the teller's tone changes by 1 degree. Not warm, exactly, just less guarded. You deposit your check, you ask a question, the answer comes faster. A banker in a navy jacket asks if you have considered opening a savings account. You say yes, even though the savings account will hold $50 at first. He gives you a folder with the bank logo embossed on the front. You carry it home under your arm as if it contains proof that your life is becoming easier to respect. But the fear does not disappear. It evolves. At 0, you feared collapse. At 500, you fear going back. So you become careful in ways that look mature from the outside and lonely from the inside. You stop going to dinners where everyone splits the bill evenly. You say, maybe next time, until people stop asking. You learn that one coffee is not one coffee. It is a test of whether you are still the person who almost lost everything over $34. Your balance is healthier, but your world gets smaller. Then one day you cross $5,000. $5,000 is not wealth. It cannot buy freedom. It cannot protect you from a medical bill, a layoff, a family emergency, or one bad month in an expensive city. But it can absorb impact. And banks like people who can absorb impact. Now the app changes. The warnings are still there, but they are crowded by invitations. Personal loan, higher credit limit, auto financing, travel rewards, limited time offer. You are no longer being warned away from the edge. You are being invited deeper into the building. You walk into the branch for a cashier's check, and this time someone brings you into a small office with a glass door. The banker offers water. It is room temperature, but you take it because being offered anything inside a bank still feels like progress. He asks about your goals. You almost laugh. For years, your goal was to keep disaster 3 feet away from your face. But now, a stranger is asking as if your life is a project with stages. You say, maybe a car, maybe a better apartment, maybe investing someday. He nods at each word like he is placing it into a box. Then he starts talking about credit products. That is the moment the warmth changes shape. It is not kindness anymore. It is sales. Not evil, not fake, just precise. The bank has discovered that you can be profitable. A person with no money is a risk. A person with some money is a market. Outside the bank, people begin to change too. Landlords answer faster. A phone company offers an upgrade. A dealership calls you my friend. A relative says, you're good with money, without knowing that being good with money once meant pretending skipped meals were strategy. This is the strange insult of becoming stable. People respect the result and misunderstand the scar. You want to enjoy it. Sometimes you do. The first time your card works without checking the balance first, you feel a private rush of power. The first time you pay a bill early, you almost want applause from an empty room. But some part of you is still sitting in that plastic chair with ticket B-42, waiting for permission not to be punished. At $25,000, the bank starts treating you like an adult with options. An email arrives on a Tuesday morning. It uses your first name. It says you may benefit from a personalized financial conversation. Personalized. You do not trust the word, but you book the appointment anyway. This office has a better chair, a framed certificate, a screen angled toward you with charts in calm shades of blue and green. The advisor asks about income, savings rate, risk tolerance, retirement goals. You hear yourself answering in complete sentences. You sound competent. You sound like someone whose future can be modeled. For 45 minutes, nobody talks about fees caused by failure. They talk about fees attached to services. That is the first upgrade. Poor fees punish, middle-class fees advise. The advisor draws a retirement curve and shows you what consistency can become over 30 years. The line rises slowly, almost politely. It promises security if you obey it long enough. You stare at the graph and feel both comforted and trapped. Because the future is finally visible, but it arrives with instructions. Socially, This level is more complicated than it looks. People stop worrying about you and start assuming you can handle things. You can cover dinner. You can lend money. You can buy the plane ticket. You can help with the deposit because, well, you are doing okay. Doing okay becomes a public resource. And if you complain, sympathy disappears quickly. Someone will remind you that you are lucky. Someone will say they wish they had your problems. Someone will hear your fear and translate it as ingratitude. Then a banker says a sentence that would have sounded impossible years earlier. You may qualify for our preferred client tier. Qualify. The word lands before the offer does. You remember not qualifying. You remember the teller, the screen, the little pause, the folded ticket in your pocket. And now, because the number is different, the same institution has discovered another version of you. At $100,000, the bank stops treating you like a customer passing through and starts treating you like a relationship worth protecting. The language changes first. Client, valued client, preferred client. Your debit card gets replaced with one that looks more serious, though it is probably the same plastic. Customer service answers faster, sometimes immediately. The first time you call and do not have to wait, the silence on the line feels unnatural. A banker knows your name before you sit down. She knows you are thinking about property. She knows your employer. She knows your account history not as a warning sign, but as a profile of potential. She offers coffee, not from a machine in the corner, from somewhere behind a door. It arrives in a real cup. You hold it carefully. The bank that charged you $34 when you had nothing now gives you coffee because you have enough. The contradiction is so clear it almost becomes funny, but you do not laugh because part of you likes it. That is the uncomfortable truth. You like being treated well. You like the quick replies, the waived fees, the lower rates, the tone that assumes you are reasonable. You like walking into an institution and feeling the room bend slightly in your direction. The danger is mistaking this for love. It is not love. It is alignment. Your money and the bank's incentives are finally facing the same way. Outside the bank, stability starts entering rooms before you do. Your job title speaks. Your address speaks. Your calendar speaks. People may like you sincerely and still like what your life suggests. That is where trust starts to blur. When someone laughs at your joke, you wonder if you became funnier. When someone invites you out, you wonder if they want you or your access. When the banker calls just to check in, you wait for the product behind the kindness. You wanted respect because you thought respect would feel clean. Instead, it arrives mixed with motive. Then your net worth crosses $1 million. You expect thunder. There is none, just a spreadsheet, a quiet room, and the strange realization that the number you once believed would fix the wound has arrived without ceremony. At $1 million, the bank gives you a private banker. Private. The word sounds almost intimate. You no longer need to walk into a branch unless you want to. The bank comes to you through direct lines, encrypted messages, calendar invitations, and people with titles long enough to require smaller font on business cards. Your private banker has excellent posture and no visible panic. He says, "We can structure that." He says, "Let me take care of it." He says, "I'll have my team follow up." My team. You have become the kind of person served by people you may never meet. At first, this feels like victory. Problems that once consumed your week now disappear in 2 emails. A wire transfer clears. A mortgage exception gets reviewed. A fee vanishes before you finish asking about it. Your credit limit becomes so high it feels fictional. And slowly, the lesson becomes undeniable. The rules were never equally solid. For some people, rules are walls. For others, they are doors with staff standing nearby. But the bank is not only flattering you, it is studying you more carefully than ever. Your life becomes a map of assets, liabilities, tax exposure, estate plans. lending capacity, liquidity events, business risk, family needs. The language becomes elegant enough to hide its appetite. You are no longer just someone with money. You are a balance sheet with a pulse. Family changes again. Help is no longer a favor. It becomes a test of character. If you say yes, the requests grow. If you say no, people remember where you came from and use it as evidence. A cousin says, "It's nothing to you." A parent says, "We sacrificed for you." A friend says, "I'd do it for you," though neither of you can prove that. The bank, in a strange way, is more honest. It wants your assets under management, your debt, your deposits, your business accounts, your referrals, your future liquidity. The people inside may genuinely like you. The institution loves your usefulness. And worse, you start calculating too. You notice who gets warmer after learning what you own, who says your title before your name, who introduces you to someone and watches your face for approval. You do not want to become cynical, but pattern recognition is hard to unlearn. At $5 million, the bank stops offering products and starts offering architecture. Money becomes a private language, securities-backed line of credit, donor-advised fund, trust structure, tax-efficient strategy, alternative investments, concentration risk, liquidity planning. There are diagrams now, specialists, rooms without teller windows, leather chairs, chilled water, coffee with options. A senior banker says, at your level, liquidity matters differently. At your level, you feel the phrase enter you. Every level before this was about getting enough money to breathe. Now money has become something that needs design, protection, choreography. You are invited to dinners, not public seminars with folding chairs, private dinners, 12 people, no prices on the menu, a guest speaker from an investment firm. People discuss markets, art, tax policy, schools, islands, philanthropy, political risk. You sit there and realize wealth has accents. Old money does not hurry to prove itself. New money sometimes does. People who manage money wear confidence like a uniform. People who want money laugh half a second too quickly. Banks are not just financial institutions now. They are social theaters. They seat people carefully. They introduce people carefully. They create rooms where capital can recognize itself. And now, you are in the room. The cost is the end of casualness. You cannot casually mention a problem without someone offering to solve it for access. You cannot casually be generous without creating precedent. You cannot casually complain without sounding ungrateful. You cannot casually be private because privacy itself starts to look like strategy. The requests get smarter too. People do not ask for $200 anymore. They ask for $2 million and call it an opportunity. They do not say, "Can you help me?" They say, "I wanted to bring you in early." They flatter your judgment, your vision, your strategic mind. The hooks get sharper because the fish is bigger. Then your net worth crosses 20 million, then 50. At this level, the bank no longer treats you as successful. It treats you as significant. Successful people get service. Significant people get access. Managing directors return your calls. You are invited to closed briefings, private market opportunities, family office conferences, art financing discussions, philanthropy planning, political risk calls. The bank stops asking only what you want to do with money. It asks what kind of legacy you want. Legacy is a strange word to hear while you are still alive. It makes every decision feel like a monument or a mistake. You are brought into a conference room high above the city. The windows make traffic look like red and white threads. A banker places a folder in front of you. Thick paper, your name printed on the cover. Inside are projections, structures, risk scenarios, charts about your children's children, even if you do not have children yet. You touch the edge of the folder and remember Ticket B-42, a thin piece of paper that said, "Wait." This paper says, "Decide." The reversal is almost too large to hold, but the cost rises with the access. Your mistakes now have audiences. A bad investment becomes gossip. A lawsuit becomes search results. A family conflict becomes leverage. A careless message can be forwarded. A dinner conversation can become a rumor. You start protecting yourself in ways that make you less available to the world. Different phone number, different email, assistant filters, security at events, ND, as where there used to be trust, background checks where there used to be instinct. You tell yourself this is practical. It is. It is also lonely. Wealth does not remove fear. It upgrades fear into management. At $100 million, the bank stops pretending the room is ordinary. This is not a branch anymore. Sometimes it is not even branded. The elevator opens onto quiet art, thick carpet, and someone who already knows you are coming. No ticket machine, no line, no plastic chair. You are greeted by name by a person who has never met you. The meeting room has water in glass bottles and a view wide enough to make the weather look arranged. 6 people are waiting. Private banking, investment strategy, trusts and estates, tax, philanthropy, lending. One person is there mostly to listen. They stand when you enter. That is the moment you feel it. Not triumph, something stranger, a delayed echo. The bank that once would not reverse $34.12 now rearranges human bodies when you walk into a room. You sit where they guide you, at the head of the table. No one says it is the head of the table. They do not have to. They review your global exposure, your cash position, your estate plan, your foundation, your liquidity needs, your possible acquisition financing, your family governance, your risk profile in countries you have never visited but somehow have exposure to. Every sentence is professional. Every person is intelligent. Many of them are decent. Some may truly care about doing right by you, but the institution around them has become a mirror so polished it no longer shows your face, only your scale. At 100 million, the bank does not sell you dreams. It sells continuity, how to preserve, how to transfer, how to defend, how to make the money outlive your body, and the emotional center moves one final time. At $0, you wanted the bank to see your humanity. At 100 million, you want someone to forget your money long enough to see it, but almost no one can. Your money enters every room before you and stays after you leave. It changes jokes. It changes honesty. It changes who disagrees with you and how quickly they apologize afterward. You become powerful enough that people edit themselves in your presence. At first, it feels respectful. Then you realize it is distance. The meeting ends after 94 minutes. Everyone stands again. Hands are shaken. Cards are exchanged, though everyone already has everyone's information. Someone says they will send a revised proposal by Friday. Someone else says it was a pleasure, and perhaps it was. You walk past the quiet art, past the assistant with perfect timing, into the elevator that descends without stopping. Your phone buzzes. A bank notification. Not a warning, not a fee, not a declined payment. A wire confirmation, a number so large the old you would have stared at it as if it belonged to a country, not a person. You look at the screen. Then, for reasons you cannot explain, your hand moves to the inside pocket of your coat. There is nothing there. Ticket B-42 is long gone, lost in a drawer, a washing machine, a trash can, a previous life, but your fingers still make the shape of it, that tiny folded square, that proof that you once waited in a plastic chair, asking for mercy from a system that could not find a profitable reason to be kind. Outside, the bank doors open before you touch them. A car is waiting. The driver knows your name. For a moment, you do not move. You stand between the cold lobby air and the noise of the street, holding a phone that says you have everything you once thought would save you, and the strangest thing happens. You remember the teller's face. not as an enemy, not as a villain, just a tired person behind glass, following rules inside a machine larger than both of you. You remember how badly you wanted her to make one exception. Now, entire rooms make exceptions for you. And it does not heal the old wound. It only proves the wound was never about money alone. It was about being small in front of something powerful and needing that power to notice you without pricing you first. The car door opens. Your phone buzzes again. Another message, another invitation, another person who wants a meeting, a favor, a partnership, a piece of your future. You turn the screen face down in your hand. For one quiet second, nobody gets answered faster because of your money. Nobody gets access. Nobody gets managed, filtered, approved, declined, upgraded, waived, or reviewed. There is only you standing outside a bank, older now, richer now, treated better than you ever imagined, and still carrying a folded piece of paper that is no longer there.